What's going on, guys? Antonio here. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up for me, and let's get into it. All right, so I've been seeing this story all weekend, so I knew I had to make a video, a commentary about it. This weekend, we got a big movie opening, Fast and Furious 10, or as they are calling it, Fast X. I think it's the fifth one of the Fast and the Furious movies, directed by Justin Lin, because he's directed all the Fast and the Furious, I think, since Fast 5, I think. So I think his first movie was Fast 5, and then 6, 7, and, in between, in the Star Trek movies and all that. So these movies, I don't know, I enjoy, let me say right off the bat, I enjoy the Fast and the Furious movies. But what they are now versus how they started is two different things. Because remember, Fast and the Furious started off as a movie about a guy running a illegal street racing team, and they were pulling capers. Dominic Toretto, he's the best driver on the planet, but he races street cars, and everybody's got the nitrous and the whole deal and all this kind of thing. You fast forward 3, 4, 5 movies, and they start becoming, the team ends up working for the government, doing CIA missions and all this kind of, and that's where a lot of people are like, boy, they kind of lost the plot here. But the movies have generated like about $10 billion, so they're watching, and I'm gonna keep it a stat. Fast and all the Justin Lin Fast and the Furious movies, I'm gonna tell you, there were 3 that were just amazing. Although, like let me start with Fast 5, because that's the one where Luke Hobbs comes in. That's where The Rock comes in. I thought Fast 5 was good. Fast 6 was good. Fast 7 was good. Fast 8 was good. Fast 9, they drove a car into outer space. I thought the movie was still okay, but they drove a car into outer space. I thought that was a little ridiculous. You drove a car into outer space. And I remember that. What was so funny is the girl I was dating at the time, she loves Vin Diesel. She watches all these Fast and Furious movies. And I told her, I was like, yeah, they good and all this. We got into an argument over, I did not understand. She loved Vin Diesel and she loved these Fast. So I said, don't you think they're getting a little over the top? And I made the joke. I said, these guys are spies now. I said, they were street racers, and now they're working for the government. Does that not seem like they've kind of lost the plot here? She, don't you say that about these movies? They're good, they're my favorite. Why do you have to mess with movies that I enjoy? And I was like, I'm just saying that it started off as a street racing movie, and now they're working for the government doing spy missions. That seemed weird to me. Okay. But I made a joke. I said, it's so outrageous, because I think it was Fast 7 where they took the one car and jumped it from one skyscraper to the other. It was Toretto and Brian, and they were in the car, and they were in Dubai, I think they were. And he drove the car from one building to, the movies were getting so over the top that they just kept coming up with stuff to be more and more outrageous. Hence, in 9, where Rome and Ludacris's character drive a car into outer space, and they end up by a Russian space station. That thing was crazy. So I was like, but I joked with her. I said, next thing you know, they'll be driving a car in outer space. I just said that as a joke, and that was around like Fast 7 or Fast 8, and I made that joke. She got so mad at me for even joking, and I remember someone leaked on Reddit and said, man, I saw an early cut of the movie, and they drove a car into outer space. And I busted out laughing. I was like, that's what I told her. I said, they're going to drive a car into outer space. There's no way. And sure enough, they drove a car into outer space. So I'm not with that young lady anymore. And I know a couple of you. I had announced I was getting married in a couple weeks, and I know some people had mentioned congratulations. I appreciated the well wishes, but yeah, the woman I'm marrying and the woman that I used to be with are two different women. But yeah, I said they were going to drive a car in outer space, and I was just saying it as a joke. I was like, how outrageous would it be? And they ended up driving the car in outer space. Well, people have seen early previews of Fast X, and it has leaked out that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has indeed returned. He's in a post-credit scene. A couple of the Fast and the Furious movies start having a post-credit scene. What was it? I think the first post-credit scene was it Tokyo Drift? Because I know Vin Diesel shows up. I think the credits roll, and then they show you that Vin Diesel is back as Dominic Toretto. Because if you of all the Fast and the Furious movies, Dominic Toretto does not appear in Too Fast, Too Furious, the second one. That's where Tyrese and Ludacris first come in, because Vin Diesel and I can't remember the Rob, was it Rob Cohen or whatever? I think that's him. He was the director, and he also directed the first Triple X movie. And him and Vin were tight, and they were having some disputes with the studios about what they wanted to do with the movie. And so once Rob walked away, Vin was like, well, if he's out, I'm out. And then so they talked to Paul Walker, and he was like, hey, I'm willing to come back for the next movie. So that's why we got Too Fast, Too Furious. They go down to Miami. Tyrese's character is brought in to replace Vin Diesel. You bring in Ludacris and a couple other people, and that's how I enjoyed Too Fast, Too Furious. I went to the theater, saw it, I liked it. But of all the Fast and the Furious movies, that's the only one that Vin Diesel doesn't appear in. He's not in Tokyo Drift at first. And then you start hearing rumors that they paid him like $5 million. He was in one scene in Tokyo Drift, and he got paid like $5 million to shoot one scene. And you watch the whole movie, and this is where the character Han that ends up being so intricate to these Fast and the Furious movies come in. Han is introduced in Tokyo Drift, so you need to see that. Some people don't like Tokyo Drift. I thought it was okay. But Han is in Tokyo Drift, and he has an unfortunate car accident at the end of Tokyo Drift. Vin Diesel was a dear friend of Han. He comes to Japan to pay respects, and you see that at the end of Tokyo Drift. And then we go, I think the fourth one is called, the fourth one's called Fast and Furious, and they got Rob Cohen back, the original director of the first Fast and the Furious. They got him and Vin, like I said, him and Vin are tight. He came back. He directed that one. And then after that, that was the fourth one. And then in the fifth one, Justin Lin started directing all the movies at that point. He was out, and he started directing the movie. But then you notice in 6, this is when I saw a good Reddit thread that was breaking down a lot of this stuff about the Fast and the Furious movies, because you can't watch them in order, because once you watch 6, you realize that some of the Fast and the Furious movies are out of sequence. I.e., some of the things you see, like in Fast and the Furious 4, are in the past. And then Fast and the Furious 6 are in the past. And so when you see all that stuff, you have to, the basic deal is, and sorry if anybody wants to go back, I still recommend you go back and watch all these movies. But okay, there's an end credit scene at the end of Fast and the Furious 6. And it's actually a scene, it's the car crash scene from Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift with Han, and you find out that the car accident that Han had was not an accident, and that Deckard Shaw had actually caused the accident that took Han out. And it was in revenge for Toretto's driving team stopping, what's his name, Connor Shaw, I think it is Connor Shaw, who was played by Luke Evans, and he's Deckard Shaw's younger brother. So Deckard Shaw I had all this stuff planned out, and I was trying to get all the information. But Deckard Shaw is played by the homie Jason Statham. Okay, so Jason Statham played Deckard Shaw, and the end credit scene at the end of 6 shows him. He shows up, boom. He's like, he calls Dominic, and that directly sets up Fast. So, like I said, 6, 7, and 8, I thought were incredible. So it set the Deckard Shaw stuff up, and like I said, in 5 we got The Rock's character Luke Hobbs, and he appeared in these other movies, and him and Shaw and then they did the spinoff Hobbs and Shaw movie, which there's supposed to be a second Hobbs and Shaw because the first one made a bunch of money. So all the Fast and the Furious movies make money, but The Rock said he would never, ever, ever return. Him and Vin Diesel had got into I think they were shooting Fast 6, and he got into it with Vin Diesel. He got into it with Tyrese, and because Tyrese is tight with Vin, because ain't nobody giving Tyrese no movie roles except for Vin Diesel and those Transformers movies. He wasn't working that much, but Vin rocks with him, so he was getting these movies. So when The Rock said something about Vin Diesel, Tyrese had come out, and it started this whole back and forth, and it was going viral, right? And Vin Diesel did some interviews, and he was like, "Oh, I see The Rock is like my little brother." And I mean, yeah, Vin's like 57. I think The Rock's like 52 or whatever. So I mean, yeah, Vin's older, but The Rock was like, "You ain't my older brother. What is you talking about?" He couldn't believe it. And they were saying little stuff about each other in the press, but Vin had publicly posted like, "Hey, hey Dwayne, come back, man. We're about to finish these movies. Don't let us finish we got to have Luke Hobbs back to make this thing go out the right way. We lost Paul already. We definitely want Luke Hobbs back. Please come back." And The Rock was like, "Shh." He was about to open Black Adam. He was like, "Shh, I ain't ever coming back. What are you talking about?" He was like, "Hey, that ain't never going to happen." Well, guess what? According to TMZ, Wired, and like 15 other publications over the weekend, from the previews that they showed of Fast X, the post-credit scene has the return of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Luke Hobbs. So he's back. So, and the other big thing. Now, they had always said that Fast X wasn't going to be the last Fast and the Furious movie, but they said they were going to do like Harry Potter. Remember that last Harry Potter movie they did too? Okay, so they said, well, the last 2, there'll be 2 more Fast and the Furious movies. Now they say they're going to be 3 more Fast and the Furious movies, and we still might get Hobbs and Shaw 2, because they've been talking about doing Hobbs and Shaw 2 for the longest. So we're probably going to get that. Because like I said, if it's a hit, they normally gonna make a sequel to it. And Jason Statham always comes back, and I love Jason Statham and all this. But the fact that The Rock, Black Adam didn't do so well. Everybody knows that Black Adam bombed. I thought it was okay, but I understand why it didn't blow up, and I would have loved to see him versus Shazam and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that The Rock was so adamant that I'm never, ever, 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 ever coming back to these movies, and he shows up. So apparently, like I said, he's not in the whole movie, but he's apparently Hobbs is at the end of Fast X in an end credit scene. So when you watch the movie, stay through the credits, and then apparently The Rock shows up, and then that's supposed to set up the second part of Fast X. So like I said, there's 2 more movies coming. So we know Fast X is dropping this weekend, and then there's 2 more Fast and the Furious movies coming, and a possible sequel to Hobbs and Shaw. And they were also talking about doing a Charlize Theron's character. She played that villain Cypher or whatever, the real bad character. And but people liked her, and they were like wanting to give her a spinoff movie. So that'd be interesting. I gotta be honest. I told my girl, we were sitting there watching the trailer because she hadn't seen these movies, and I was like, boy, I really did not like Charlize Theron, and I love Charlize Theron. She made me really not like her in the way she did. Because if I'm not gonna ruin it, you have to watch the Fast and the Furious movies to see them. And I mean, most of them are streaming. They got most of the Fast and the Furious movies streaming on Peacock. Some of them are on Hulu, and then there's like 2 on HBO Max. So you're not gonna get all 9 movies on the same platform. But like I said, I know there's a couple on HBO Max. I know Fast 9's on HBO Max. There's a couple on Peacock, and then there's like 4 or 5 also streaming on Hulu if you have Hulu. So you kind of have, or you could just go on Amazon and buy a box because they got the whole 9-disc box set or whatever, which I'm going to put in the description here. So, but what do you guys think? Hey, tell me what you think about the Fast and the Furious movies. What do you think about the news that The Rock is back, even if it's a cameo in Fast X? I am looking forward to seeing this, even though they drove a car into outer space. But I am going. I was like, that was a bad decision. That was a bad life choice to have them drive a car into outer space. But I gotta see it because, like I said, I thought like 6, 7, and 8. Fast and the Furious as a trilogy. I thought 6, 7, and 8 in Fast. But like I said, Fast 5 is, I enjoy Fast 5 as well, but it was more, it definitely stands alone, although some of the stuff from Fast 5 carries into Fast 6. So, but I look at 6, 7, and 8, the Shaw storyline. The Shaw storyline is what that's why I was like, you get Connor Shaw, and then Deckard Shaw, and then you see it in the whole thing. So I definitely 6, 7, and 8. I think were the best 3. Fast 9 had a bunch of action, John Cena, all that stuff. It made money. It did make money. I understand it made money, but yeah, okay. But anyway, I blathered on enough. If you're still here, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the new subs. Appreciate the comments in the comment section, all that stuff. I appreciate you guys. I'm out. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And please check out my podcast at anchor.fm/Ikari Press, or just type in Ikari Press on your favorite streaming platform today.